Here's Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody's doing well, man. Hope you guys had a great Super Bowl weekend. A lot of conversations going on. And Chase, not all of them are about the game itself. We will dive into the game for sure and talk a little bit about the halftime show that has kind of caught the world by storm. Very two different tales there with that whole deal. But Seahawks go on to win the Super Bowl, Chase, 29-13, defeating the Patriots. And I have a feeling we're going to have a few of our folks in the chat, man, with some I told you so's, man. Shout out to Mike, number one. I know Jake also, believe his son was along with the Patriots, but not Patriots, I'm sorry, the Seahawks. But I feel like going back like probably several weeks now, man, Mike had been calling it that Seattle was going to win the Super Bowl. And I know a lot of people were definitely big on Seattle, but shout out to our listeners, man, that definitely felt that the Seahawks were the team to beat because that actually happened. And shout out to all the Alabama guys who were a part of the victory yesterday. And shout out to the guys that played in the game too. I told you guys I was kind of torn with the whole deal, given that there was a number of Alabama players on both teams. As a matter of fact, we had the most representatives in the game, I believe. I don't know if it was like all time or what the deal was, but with 7 representatives total, 4 of them coming from Seattle. Jaron Reed, who I played with, big defensive tackle out of North Carolina. Robbie Hoots, another Carolina guy from Rock Hill, South Carolina. Him and Jalen Milroe, the pair that were drafted this past season. And then Josh Jobe, who I also played with, a cornerback who ended up, it's been a starter for Seattle, been doing a really good job after going undrafted. So shout out to those guys getting themselves some Super Bowl rings. I want to say it was all of their first. I had to go back and check. I know Jaron spent some time. I think he spent 1 year with the Chiefs. I don't think they won it that year. And then also went on to Green Bay. So I believe it is his first Super Bowl as well. Then on the other side, Anthony Jennings, Christian Barmore, and C.J. Dupree, I believe those 3 guys fell short. But I'm not going to doubt those guys for 1 second. I have a feeling that they're just getting started. I know Drake May is a really young quarterback. I know he didn't have his greatest game yesterday, but I think he is the future clearly for that franchise. They got a lot of good stuff to build around. So I'm sure this is not the end for the Patriots. But overall, Chase, I will say the game itself, kind of a boring game, if I have to be completely honest with you. It was not the most entertaining game by any means. I mean, definitely some really solid defensive play. I mean, the Patriots defense coming up big, whole bunch of field goals throughout the game. Their offense could not get anything going virtually until the fourth quarter. Mac Hollins, who's known for his, I guess, very interesting choice of game day attire when entering stadiums yesterday. I don't know if you saw his, Chase, but it was like a prisoner uniform or costume. I don't know what you call that. But then he was holding his coach's high school jersey. I don't know. I mean, everybody knows him for the guy that wears no shoes. I mean, I can understand a little bit, maybe just grounding. Okay, cool. But the whole costume thing, like Halloween was several months ago, man. But nonetheless, he showed up, made a nice play, scored for those guys, gave him a little bit of a spark. But by then it was a little bit too late. And if you just watch that game, you just know. I mean, Seattle was, man, very balanced offensively, especially that first drive, man. Just seeing them going through their opening script, man. They were going down there, but Patriots defense kept stepping up time and time again. I hate it for those guys because as a defensive unit, sometimes it's kind of frustrating when it's like you guys are doing about as best as you can. Not saying they were perfect, but when you're just holding teams to field goals, I mean, man, New England still was in it for a long time, even though it felt like they shouldn't have been. But because of those stops down in the red zone, they kept giving their guys a chance. But Drake May, man, just couldn't find his footing, and that offense just couldn't figure it out. So now it makes you wonder about the people that were so big on Drake May with the MVP vote, and it's like, maybe they had a little bit of a point when they were bringing up some of the common opponents or the defenses that he did face. But we'll dive a little bit more into the Super Bowl. Plus, I want to get y'all's thoughts on the whole halftime show dilemma that's going on. I know going into it, everybody was already kind of split on it. You had a whole substitute halftime show, kind of crazy that ended up being a thing. Um, I just watched the actual halftime show that was a part of the Super Bowl, and I thought it was solid. I'll definitely give some more thoughts on it, but I want to get y'all's thoughts on it because I know there's some sides that loved it, some sides that hated it, some sides that were just like, it wasn't too bad, and would love to get y'all's opinion because right now that's really honestly taking the world by storm more so than the game. The game was kind of the game. I feel like the halftime show pretty much trumped the whole game in terms of the attention that it brought, both positive and negative for whatever reason that is. But anyway, what we're going to do is hit our first timeout. When we come back, we'll dive into the game, the halftime show, and more. We'll keep talking a little bit about this Bediako situation because I thought we were going to have the official word last week, but to my knowledge, Chase, unless I missed something while I've been getting all this stuff together, I haven't seen an update just yet. So I feel like we're still kind of waiting on that decision. However, in the meantime, since there was no decision officially made prior to the game against Auburn, the Iron Bowl of basketball that was played over in Auburn, he was able to play and help lead the team to victory as they defeated the Auburn Tigers on the road. So still awaiting an official ruling from Judge Daniel Pruitt on the case. So we'll definitely still keep you guys updated on that. And per usual, always encourage you guys to jump in on the action. 205-342-9904. That is the phone number to the show, or you can always come hang out with us on the stream where we live stream every day that we do the show on YouTube at the Miller's Edge, on Facebook on the Tide 100.9 page as well. You can leave your comments, questions, and concerns right there, and we'll discuss it all right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is local Allstate agents.
Oh, God. I can already see how this is going, but it doesn't surprise me, though. I mean, we are full of Alabama fans, which is located down south, and we already know kind of how that goes. But still, I am curious to get y'all's thoughts on it, though. I am curious. Who we got in here? We got Kenji. We got Dwight. What's up? Agent, what's up? Now, they definitely were on the verge of a blowout. It was a weird kind of blowout, though, because it was like the score felt like a blowout. The way it was going, felt like a blowout, but it really didn't because of the stops the defense came up with. And all it would have taken really through the first half or even really the first three quarters was for New England to get – if New England scored a touchdown, it would have made everything – I mean, think about it, because I think the way the game went, it was like 9-0. I think at one point, especially through like the second half, it was just a bunch of field goals, even through the third quarter. I want to say they were, matter of fact, it was 12-0 through pretty much three quarters. So all it would have taken was one Drake May touchdown for that game to feel entirely different. But they just couldn't do it until the fourth quarter. And then at that point, Seattle put up even more points. You had some turnovers finally that made the game interesting. I was thinking watching the game, I'm like, man, I mean, there hadn't really been hardly any turnovers, and nothing really exciting is going on. I mean, not knocking the game. I mean, football's football. Kind of sad that it's officially done at this point. I guess you got the UFL. We can start talking a little bit about that. You got AJ McCarron and the Stallions, but just definitely was not one of those Super Bowls to remember where it was, down to the wire, a bunch of big time events happening back and forth. It wasn't like that at all. It kind of felt like a typical, I'll be honest with you, kind of felt like a normal Sunday NFL game. It didn't even really feel like a playoff game. It felt kind of, I don't know, just like a typical Sunday NFL game. Hold on, let me grab my drink real quick. I'll be right back, guys.
saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Babbel feels like it was created intentionally.
Oh, there you go. That was a Babbel ad. That's how you learn Spanish. There you go. Maybe some people need to tap into that Babbel ad, man. Chase, I'm already knowing how this Super Bowl halftime show conversation is going to go. Granted, you know, we'll have some fun with it, but as you guys know, man, I do speak Spanish. I taught myself Spanish actually. Um, that said, I'm not going to be biased. I'm not going to sit there and make it seem like I thought it was the best show ever just because I thought it was cool. I'll give you all my thoughts in a minute, but I think it's just weird how everything just turns so political. I'll just be honest with you. That's my biggest gripe about all this is that everything just becomes so political. Um, it's just weird to me, man. It's just weird. Like I know a lot of people are even thinking like he was going to like have a political performance or like have any. Dude, I'm telling you right now. I mean, I listen to some of his music. Like I said, I speak Spanish, and even anything like between the songs. If any, the only thing he said was God bless America, and the theme was kind of like unity, right, amongst all the countries in the continent of America, which is true. I mean, America is a continent. It's funny because the way they teach that whole deal overseas, a lot of people don't understand why we call ourselves Americans because they just view it for the continent. So I always have to like American in the sense of being from the United States because in Spanish the term is estadounidense. That's what you call someone from the United States. Um, But anyway, yeah, no, everything with like all this stuff was really just representing the culture of Puerto Rico. You got me speaking Spanish and um, translate his lyrics. What song? Like the song he opened up with. All it's basically saying is like, my aunt asked me why I have so many girlfriends. So many girlfriends. One day I have one, other day I have another. Like that's literally all. I mean, it's like kind of imagine like it's like pop, kind of like Spanish, not like pop, but um yeah, there's that one part, Jeremy. There's that one part. And welcome back into this Monday edition of Miller's Edge, Todd 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, Chase, where should we start? We talked a little bit about the game. We'll definitely talk about the game. I kind of want to talk about the halftime show, but I guess we'll talk about the game first. I mean, we kind of did it, but just to kind of put a bow on it again, I mean, if you like defensive ball, I think you probably enjoyed it a little bit more than others. It still was, even for somebody like me who I like defense, still pretty boring. Wasn't any like big turnovers until later in the game. And I know you had the Seattle ended up being like an interception, right? Man, you talk about bringing a lot of pressure too. There's a lot of pressure being brought in this game. Like both defenses, were extremely aggressive. The Patriots brought a ton of pressure. I think they showed a stat on the screen that it was like the most that they've pressured like all season long. Then if you watch Seattle, man, the way they bring 21, I mean, consistently just flying through there. If there's any DBs out there listed, man, like that's how you blitz, or even backers like that. I mean, you got to force the issue. I mean, like both teams are just very aggressive, going at it. And Seattle was getting home a lot. There's a number of sacks that they had. That defensive line unit was very impressive. Byron Young is a dog. We all saw that. Jaron Reed is a dog. Leonard Williams is a dog. And so, if anybody's wondering why trench play and defensive line play, physicality, getting after the quarterback, dominating the guy in front of you up front is so important, well, turn on the Super Bowl and you'll see why. I think it's clear that if you really just go back and look at any successful team over the past few years, look at the Eagles, their offensive line is dominant. Even their defensive line with the young guys that they have. I mean, trench play at the end of the day, we all can agree that the trenches win you football games. And Seattle's was doing a damn good job yesterday. I mean, I don't even know what the Patriots finished in terms of rushing yards. I don't think they had much. Could be wrong. I do know Seattle, man. I'll tell you one thing, Chase. their back, Kenneth Walker, so impressive. And then to hear his story about he almost had to basically give up football, I think, due to blood clots, which ironically enough, I mean, former Alabama player Christian Barmore also dealt with that too. So I guess anybody out there, man, make sure you're getting your regular checkups and stuff. But um, regardless, Kenneth Walker dealt with blood clots, was unsure about his future. And then to see him come back and play the way he plays, he had 27 carries in this game, 135 yards. And what I like, long of 30, by the way. But what I like about him is he just runs hard, man. Runs very physical, but he's elusive, has great burst. You see at times he's patient. Then he hits that hole. You know, Kenyon Drake was kind of like that. Kenyon would kind of be patient back there, wait, and then just burst through the hole. And that's how Kenneth is, but he's very physical too. Can catch a ball to the backfield. Really impressive player. But as a team, they ran for 32 yards, 140 yards, 141 yards on the ground versus the Patriots. They had 18 carries for 79 yards. Drake May was responsible for 37 of those scrambling. So the reality was they didn't run the ball great. So it just goes to show you Seattle's defense did a really nice job in this game. Drake May, 27-43, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Again, young quarterback, man, really impressive to be so young, but just won his best game. But shout out to my guy Sam Darnold, who didn't necessarily light up the stat sheet. His performance wasn't perfect by any means, but he did enough, and he did what he needed to do to lead his team to victory. And I can't say enough good words about him. He was my teammate with the Panthers, and he's always been so talented, very impressive guy. Just always probably one in the best position. You know, we talk about all the time the organization and the team that you're a part of, especially in the National Football League at quarterback, makes a huge deal. So to see him finally get this opportunity, he had a great season in Minnesota. Not sure. Well, I guess I get it. I mean, they stuck with their young first round draft pick in JJ, right, at quarterback. But still, man, you had a young guy. Sam is 28 years old, maybe 29. So he's got a lot of football ahead of him. A lot of people had written him off. I mean, remember, this guy was a top draft pick from a very young age out of Southern Cal. Didn't really find his footing in New York with the Jets or Carolina. Goes to Minnesota, looks really good, signs a deal, goes to Seattle, and his first year there, man, leads those guys to a Super Bowl, which again, that means our guy Jalen Milroe also is a Super Bowl champ, along with Jaron Reed, Josh Jobe, and Robbie Ooze. Can't wrap my head around there, Chase. I've seen a couple comments online, and I don't know why I see the negative stuff. I hate to bring it up, but I just don't understand how somebody says they're a Bama fan, but then like make a weird comment about, oh, well, Jalen's a backup. And like he's a rookie quarterback, man. Like literally a lot of majority rookie quarterbacks are backups, unless you're like the first couple taken in the draft and your team is really bad. But nonetheless, he gets a Super Bowl ring, just like all the other guys like that have been on practice squads that won rings. They're still a part of the team. It's no different than a guy that played at Alabama that might not have played much or redshirted, or I mean, I get it. You're not necessarily the starter. Nobody said that he's the MVP or anything, but the fact is, we've added another Alabama quarterback to win a Super Bowl ring, and now that makes 2, right? You got 2 Jalen's that have won Super Bowl rings that are former Alabama quarterbacks. Now, I looked this up too. I think there's another guy in recent years, not recent years, but because if you look at it in terms of Alabama quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl, I think a lot of people thought the last one was Stabler, but I think it ended up being like Rutledge, a guy named Rutledge or something like that. But nonetheless, Alabama officially has another quarterback with the Super Bowl ring, which is really cool. And I know that's a great experience for him. I'm going to reach out to him and see if we can get him on the show. Matter of fact, I talked to his dad probably a few weeks ago. His dad had reached out to me, and we had chopped it up a little bit. So maybe, so I know Jalen's phone is going to be blown up. Maybe I'll hit his dad up and see if he'll get Jalen to jump on here maybe sometime later this week or whenever he frees up, and kind of just talk about the experience, because man, it's probably special. I've won national championships, but never been a part of a Super Bowl, and it just looks awesome. And I can only imagine how special that is. So shout out to those guys. But Chase, let me get your thoughts when we hit this break, man. I mean, what do you think of the Super Bowl? Am I being a little dramatic when I say it was kind of boring, the game itself? I mean, it just nothing really was super exciting, I guess, until like the fourth quarter, which by then the Seahawks still, they already were looking like they were going to win. But at least you saw like some bigger plays being made. Patriots finally scored. What would you make of the Super Bowl, Chase?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of stale a little bit, and it's no dig to the players and the coaches that that wanted to, perform the way they did. It's just you had two great defensive minded coaches and teams. There's nothing that really could have changed the results of it. I think the best team won. I think with the fourth quarter, the Patriots scored 13 points in total, and Seahawks scored 17. So that's when the offenses started to kind of figure something out. But I think the Patriots just didn't have an answer for the Seahawks D line. It just looked crazy out there, especially with the one-on-one matchups. It was cool to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I felt bad for him. People are on it. The first sack, the guard went to help out and knocked dude basically, I guess, onto the edge kind of deal.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. I mean, he looked like he had him blocked, and then the guard accidentally freed him up, and it led to a sack. But he definitely, Will Campbell, he struggled. I mean, he struggled. I don't think it's necessarily his arm length. I mean, that's not going to be an advantage. I don't think it's the biggest disadvantage for him, but I think it's more of a technique thing that he could probably fix up. The way he sets could probably make a difference as well. And you got to remember, he's also a rookie tackle. So at the end of the day, I mean, I think he's going to get better. I do believe he could probably play better at guard, but I don't think you should write him off necessarily at tackle. But listen, when you have a rookie left tackle, it's kind of just like if you have a freshman, true freshman, offensive tackle. You're probably expecting a little bit of some struggle there at that position, but it wasn't only on him. I mean, protecting Drake May was an issue, and we know the problems that led to. But we always talk about the running game, right? We got to hold everybody to the same standard. I mean, they couldn't run the ball great either. Now, the reason they had so few attempts also probably is because they were playing from behind majority of the game. But still, I mean, 7 carries for their running back for 23 yards, other one 6 yards for 19. Again, that's not efficient offense. Now they threw the ball 43 times, but you guys can see, man, like all the themes we talk about on this show, which are not like, special to our show. It's just in football, these are core fundamentals. Great play up front in the trenches, and you got to be able to run the football. And you guys will see this time and time again. The team that struggles to run the football, they're going to struggle offensively. The team that can play dominant on at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively, they're going to fare much better. It's crazy, Chase, when you really watch these games and you look at it. It really boils down to the same stuff. But yeah, no, I agree 100% with you. He definitely struggled. They had a hard time really as a whole up front. So that's probably going to be their priority this offseason. They got a guy in Drake May. They have a guy in Drake May. He can play some football. I think he definitely is their guy for the future. But we'll have to see. You think how about Diggs, Chase? You mean I don't know what his contract is. I feel like he was probably like a 1-year type thing. Maybe I'm wrong, but felt like he was a little quiet in the game a little bit. Demario Douglas, I felt like had a lot of action, but I mean, I hate it for Diggs. I hate it for Diggs. It's kind of like, man, that's a good comeback story, but Seahawks had a number of those as well. So anyway, we got hit a timeout. Again, shout out to our guys, our Bama guys that are Super Bowl champions: Jaron Reed, Josh Jobe, Robbie Oots, and former Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe. And still a big shout out to Anthony Jennings, Christian Barmore, and CJ Dupree on the other side of things, just for getting there, man. That's very hard to do. So big shout out to all of our guys last night. Now that officially concludes Chase football. Unless you're counting the UFL, which we'll count that a little bit now, I guess, because you got AJ McCarron as the head coach for the Stallions. So maybe that's what we're going to turn our attention to. But the good news is, for all our listeners, we're not going to slow down. We still got NFL draft. We still got spring ball coming up. We still are going to have media days through the summer. We've got plenty to talk about, and we'll do just that. And we can always go back and break some tape down. So we'll always be doing that here on the show. But first, we'll take this time out and we come back. We keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Winter is in.
Did Grub have Kenneth Walker? Kenneth Walker was there last year. I mean, unless he was injured. Let me see. Or out. Let's see how much he played. So I don't even remember at this point. In 2025, he was playing. He rushed for over 1,000 yards, 5 rushing touchdowns. Yeah, he played in 17 games in 2020. Wait, would that have been Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, that would have been 2024 then. Right? Am I mixing that up? Well, I'm getting my years mixed up. Okay, all right. He played in 7 games. He played in 7 games in 24, which that's when Grubb was there. I'm sorry. So he played in 7 games. So his season was cut short. That's right. Yeah, they do. Don't matter if you're a starter on the practice squad. The ring is the same. The bonuses, unless you have things in your contract individually. But them boys still got paid. They got rings. They got the experience. So people can say what they want, but at the end of the day, they all can call themselves Super Bowl champions for the rest of their life. Do I think Alabama returns to playing a normal 8A game? I hadn't heard any updates on that, Crystal. I'll be honest with you. If I just was going off of what I think, I mean, I definitely think there's a possibility, but I haven't heard much news from other schools either to see if they're going to go back to. I mean, let's Google it. Let's see if any other schools have announced that they're going to go back to the regular spring games. See if anybody else announced it. Mm, I don't see anything off first glance. The only thing that I would say is part of me is like I could understand them coming back. I heard Georgia's going to and can't remember the other one. Texas A&M are doing a normal game. Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, I was about to say I feel like people will go back to it, but I also could see a world where some people, just like how Coach Saban after COVID, he kind of just adopted the rule that hey, I'm just going to stick with like limited media availability because that happened because of the COVID rules. Then they just stuck with it. I could also see a world where some schools that did go away from it just say, hey, we already kind of went this route. We don't really feel the need to broadcast it anyway. We'll just stick with it. But hopefully they do bring it back. I mean, again, if you're talking about NIL opportunities, I feel like there's a number of opportunities and incentives that you can do, or at least implement to take advantage of it. Not to put a whole bunch of costs on fans, but even if it's like voluntary things. Um, I don't know, hell, schedule like some type of event around A-Day. Make it like a big deal. That's what I would say. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, we're talking Super Bowl again. 7 Alabama players total played in the game, the most of any school. Alabama continues to set records. Per usual, no surprise there, but 4 of them went on to be crowned Super Bowl champions. So shout out to all those guys that were able to do that. And just really cool, man. And I know a lot of attention is immediately thrown on Jalen Milroe just because he's a quarterback, even though he didn't play. And I just think it's cool personally when I look at his story of how things went for him here. Again, I know some people claim they didn't see it, but I saw it, and how he was kind of treated, and to be put in a position where his first year in the NFL to have that experience. Again, backup or not, man, I just think it's really cool, and it's cool how it seems like God has a way of rewarding good people, and he's a really good person. I feel like he definitely was very deserving. So really cool to see that. And again, all the other guys as well, really hard workers and really good players as well. But really cool stuff. And I know there's some questions in the chat. We'll get to some of those. But first, we're going to go to the phone lines 205-342-9904. A couple of those things were number one, now that the season concluded, we just saw Seattle win the Super Bowl. I know we talked a little bit about it, but do we think that Grubb leaving had anything to do with the I guess not necessarily newfound success, but somewhat newfound success since his departure? And a couple other things about the spring game we can probably talk about. But we're going to talk with Smitty first. Smitty, what's up, man? What'd you think of that Super Bowl?
Well, I won a nice chunk of change on the spread. Yeah. So, of course, the lady found out about that, and Valentine's Day's coming up. Oh boy, I hate that. But here's the thing.
That whole earning is gone then, huh?
Yeah, I almost cussed out Randy Moss. I did bet $20 on a coin toss, and he always said do tails. You remember that story? You should check that story out. Randy
Wait,
Moss.
how are you betting on a coin toss?
DraftKings, man. I also hit the over on Cooper Kupp's total catches.
I mean, brother, how much you betting on, brother?
Hey, don't worry about all that, man. He's trying to get me caught up like Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups.
Yeah, true. All right, I'll let you do your thing, man. Let me stop asking questions.
It's all legal on DraftKings. Is all I got to say. But that game last night, it was easy cut. Yeah. New England kind of reminded me of this past Alabama team where they got farther than any business they had going with the holes they had. you know. But it also showed that Drake May had a great year. But there's a reason that young QBs don't win Super Bowls like that, because he wasn't ready for the moment. And I'm not knocking him on that, but that's just a big moment for that young man.
Yeah,
and to me, that team was ahead of schedule, by the way. I think they're still rebuilding. And I said the same thing when Alabama lost to Indiana and stuff like that, that losing brings clarity. To me, you learn more about yourself in a loss than a win. Sure. That left tackle they got, there's a reason why they look at arm length with tackles, you know, and those short arms kind of bit him in the butt. He may be a heck of a guard. There are plenty of guys who play guard in the league that made a lot of money. Ask Mekhi Becton. His career got saved moving to guard. You know, and he's making good money. But Seattle, and I know people are going to say, oh, it was all grub. One thing I know about Kenneth Walker last night, and I watched a couple of their games, he made something out of nothing plenty of times in that game as well. It is a group effort when it comes to the run game. It's the coaching. It's the backs. It's the offensive line. It's a tight end and wide receiver blocking as well. Because the one thing ain't right there, your running game is going to stink. And I thought that because New England played as good as they could on defense all night. But he made some runs when he made lemonades out of some of those lemons. And to me, that's a great back, because those guys put their pants on one leg at a time. They get paid too. And so I look at, sometimes the play call, they got you, but you know that, Christian. There's times you played against guy like, man, we got him. Then he just like zip past you. Like, how did he get past me? you know, it's just how it is, you know. And I'll say this also. Deion Sanders took some heat because he said he only takes cornerbacks at a certain height. I know Nick Saban and Kirby's done the same thing for years. But those plays Christian Gonzalez made in one-on-one coverage show why he's supposed to get longer and taller quarterbacks. You know?
Yeah, no, I was going to mention him. He was so impressive, man. I mean, because really, he saved a couple plays. That one that looked like a post. I can't remember exactly what it was, but a deep shot down the middle of the field. Yeah, I mean, he literally, if he didn't lay out and one hand tip that football, that was going to be a completion. It looked like, at least. And then undercutting that route in the end zone on third down. I mean, he's a dog, man. Like, yeah, you're right. Length is definitely helpful. Now, I do believe still you can't write off everybody. If a guy can play, he can play. Like, if I'm putting myself in a coach's shoes and I'm recruiting, like, I definitely would lean towards guys with length. Like, there's no doubt about it. But I would be careful not to completely write off a guy if he did not necessarily fit that criteria. Only because I do know a number of players that are undersized. I mean, I played with a guy like Cyrus Jones, who was small, right? He was not a big corner at all, but he was a dog. You look at Pons from Indiana, he's barely over 5'8", and look how he plays a lot bigger than he is, handles his own. So there's definitely going to be exceptions for sure. But you're right, that length definitely shows up, just like you see with DJ Lee, right? I mean, he's 6'3", almost 6'4". There's going to be times where that length alone can help save him in some situations. Now, you'll also see some weaknesses of guys that are taller and longer. They don't have that same, quickness as a shorter guy. That's just kind of a natural thing. And you see sometimes a guy like DJ Lee might struggle in some situations, but he's going to be a lot better in others. So, yeah, I agree with you. I do like having a lot of length, and that's clearly what these coaches like, because I think our secondary at this point is averaging probably almost 6'2", if you look at it, because you got like 6'3" and up corners at least, if not more.
Yep, you're right. And the thing is, you're going to need some nickel guys like that, but it's just like certain schools, the big boy schools, they're not going to take 5'8" corners like that because, but they may take that guy in the portal, though. You know,
Yeah, well,
you get what I'm saying there.
if he's shown what he can do, yeah, it's a little bit. I would agree. I mean, coming out of high school, it might be a little bit tougher for those guys to get that attention from
But
a
the
bigger
portal,
school. But if they've gone to a school and demonstrated the ability to just go ball, without taking into consideration their size, yeah, I think that could get them an opportunity. Tell me
yeah.
about this halftime show, Smitty. I saw you tweet. You were speaking a little Spanish in your tweet, man. I think you said something like,
Hey,
espero que todos estén teniendo un buen día,
hey,
algo así. So basically saying, I hope they're all having a good evening. Hopefully I didn't get you in trouble with the missus though, because I mean she might not
oh
understand
no,
Spanish.
no,
But
no. Hey,
I read that tweet and I said, okay, Smitty. I mean that either you picking up some Spanish in Arizona or you utilize AI or some type of translator.
I am trying to learn a little bit in Arizona, but all I got to say is that those background dancers are very talented individuals. That's all I got to say about that. But I look at it like this: why are we politicizing halftime shows where they working for free? That's what I say. People,
I
it's
don't
a
know.
show. Everything is not going to be for everybody. There were years where Tom Petty, rest in peace, and the Heartbreakers performed. I didn't get mad. I made a sandwich. You know, Bruce Springsteen performed. I made a sandwich. I grabbed a cold one. I don't get mad about it. I thought it was fun because it was just vibes. And needless to say, hey, I grew up in an era where the Yin Yang Twins was hot. I didn't like anything they said, but the dance floor was full, so that meant that was a good night for me.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. And
I hear you.
so everything is not for everybody. So I went to Monday Night Raw because I was in Chicago for work, and so Bad Bunny was there. All I got to say is he brings the fans. That's all I got to say. And,
This guy here,
and
man.
you know, hey man, I'm just saying he brings the fans. Hey, I'm just saying. But here's the thing: I want to say this about the Seahawks also. They reminded me of the 0-2 Bucks in a way where they could get pressure with 4 and they could just play coverage.
Yeah.
And I think that is something where, like, but when they blitz, like you said, they timed it perfectly and they got home. Because if you don't get home, you're cooked. Even though I'm still mad that Sean Jones gave up the post route on cover 0. You know you can't give up the post. But anyway, that is 5th grade football. I'm sorry. But the thing is, if you can get home with 4, that makes your secondary better. And that it makes every part of your defense better because you don't have to send extra guys. I think that is the one thing that, like the schools like Alabama, Georgia did not have it this year, the past 2 years, that same way. And but it shows that this GM has done a great job being educated. He's the one that built the Legion of Boom. He done a great job. And then he moved on from Russell Wilson. Signed Donald to a reasonable contract, and I think that's something teams should do. You don't have to give your quarterback $50 million. Maybe give him 30, 35, and you can still build your team out because they have a team. And I think the other thing that I love about this Super Bowl, I hate it when these analysts and pundits keep saying you need an offensive-minded head coach in the NFL. You need a head coach who's a leader of men. And guess what? Mike Vrabel took a second-year quarterback in a rebuild to the Super Bowl. Mike McDonald, year 2, the defensive head coach, took that team to the Super Bowl and won it. And my thing is, as a head coach, you need to be a leader of men. It ain't about being a play caller. That man is a leader of men. Both of them are. And that shows you don't need to worry about the offensive wonderkind. You need a guy who's a leader of men. Because if your team is good, your offense, your quarterback's going to be good. You need a leader of men. And I hope that's something that GMs and owners should look at.
Yeah, no, you definitely for head coach for sure. But I think the offensive coordinator for Seattle, I think he did a really nice job. I was watching a breakdown from I think it was Chase Daniel just talking about setting up plays and how they utilize stretch and basically looked like New England was playing a bunch of single high coverage, whether it was looked like a bunch of cover 3 when they were in zone. I think 1 or 2 times it could have been maybe man, but a lot of cover 3 looks, meaning your safety's coming down as a flat player most of the time, right? There are variations of cover 3, but that's how they were doing. He's coming down. And what that means is he's also in run support, right? So it looked like they were running a bunch of stretch or wide zone and setting that up where he was having to run down and he was playing so aggressive to the point that tight end that caught that touchdown pass corner route, it ended up gone. He showed on the breakdown that he basically set it up by a bunch of zone plays and getting that safety to play so aggressive to the point where that tight end was ended up being wide open, running down the field. So that's also really important too. But that's why we talk about flow and your offense having rhythm. You know, they're balanced. They ran for 140 some yards on the ground, but they also threw it, 30 some times. So I'm saying you can do both and you set things up off of things. And that's what they did. Ended up hitting that play action touchdown, setting it up off the run. So yeah, you're right. Leader of men for the head coach spot, but it definitely is important to have a coordinator that can put his guys in positions to make plays and have a nice flow and rhythm to the offense. Cause I think he does a nice job with Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is great, but I think the way he calls games, which it sounds like he's going on. I think he said after the game he's going to Vegas or something like that. But yeah, I think that helps out tremendously as well. So that's why we need to find a little bit more rhythm with our offense, and hopefully we can see some dividends with that.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Christian, can I say this real quick before you run?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks for taking my call as always.
Yeah, man.
Well, my criticism of Grubb has always been he's a play caller. He doesn't run an offense. He's a play caller. You got to run the offense. And you know what I mean by that because you've seen it playing. But also, Sam Darnold is a case of, one, it's where you go as a quarterback. I know the money's better when you're high up, but the Jets, going to the Jets, and then when the Panthers had that rough time and stuff like that, that could have ended things. And so it means that you don't have to give up on these guys so quickly. Because I remember folks were ready to give up on Bryce Young after, first 3 games of the second year. And now you stuck with him, and look at him now. He's progressing year by year. And I think that stop chasing your quarterback wanting to be Mahomes or Josh Allen. Maybe he's just a good quarterback. And the last 2 Super Bowls are won with good quarterbacks. They may not be Mahomes or Allen, but you were able to build a team around them where they didn't have to be Superman. And I think that there's a lot of lessons. Stick with these young guys. Let them grow and develop. And then you may have something because you starting over. There ain't no guarantee. Look at the draft.
Oh, there's 9, and you see teams do that time and time again. They're quick to move on from guys, looking for the next best thing. Ends up being a rinse and repeat type cycle instead of, like you said, putting these guys in good positions, getting guys around them to help them out. Another example, you're a Bucs fan, would be Baker Mayfield, your quarterback. He was in Carolina with me and Sam as well. And you see how that turned out. He was originally in Cleveland, terrible organization, historically speaking, in terms of quarterbacks for sure. And now he's thriving. And then you also talk about maturity. The quarterback position in the NFL, it requires mature players, not just like mature off the field, but mature meaning they've had time to get acclimated to the game of football at that level. There's some guys the transition is going to feel a little bit easier than others, but when you're talking about the quarterback position, even for Bryce Young, you ask anybody that was with him around here, they'll tell you he's one of the most talented guys, the smartest players, most composed. He had all the tools you needed, except for maybe the height that people were looking for. And it still took him a couple years, you know what I mean, to get acclimated and really adjust. So just take some time. It's you're playing against the best of the best. Look at the Seattle Seahawks secondary. They got some dudes, man. There's some dogs back there. So imagine going from throwing against ULM, and then now you're playing against that unit in the back end. So there's a lot of adjustments. But, yeah, you're right. You just got to be patient with some guys. And hopefully we keep seeing our guys. I think Mac Jones is going to get an opportunity. He played well as a backup in San Fran. I think he could be a similar guy. He could probably have some good years ahead of him. Yeah, Malik Willis, same thing. I think he's going to end up being a really good player as well. Smitty, I appreciate you calling in as always, brother. You be easy. Now, don't get in too much trouble now. I'm saying you get a little loose on air, bro, with what you're talking about now. I ain't trying to get you in trouble at home now.
They don't know my hobbies like that. You can't know everything about you. But hey, you have a good one, Chris. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir. You too, brother. Take it easy. Good deal, man. Our guy Smitty always bringing it per usual. We got hit a timeout, the top of the hour timeout, that is. We come back, we'll keep on rolling. We're going to talk a little bit about this halftime performance. We haven't got to that yet. I'm really curious to get y'all's thoughts. We'd love to get you guys to call in 205-342-9904. Before we do that, let me remind you about our friends over at R&R Cigars. If you needed a place to watch the game, that would have been a great spot. But don't worry, there's plenty more coming up. Football might be done, but you still got basketball, March Madness, all type of sports coming up. Softball has officially started. We had Gray Robertson on last week. Discuss that with him. So make sure you guys check out R&R Cigars, 2703 Gary Fitz Street here in Tuscaloosa, where you can find them, the best humidor in the Southeast. Over 160 bourbons for you to try as well. They do include the Yay Alabama beverages as well. So you can try all that at R&R Cigars. Plus, don't forget about that promo code Miller's Edge on their website, rnrcigars.com. Just plug in the code Miller's Edge and you will get 20% off your orders. That is for our listeners exclusively. So make sure you guys take advantage of those deals that they have right there at R&R Cigars. Again, that's R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. Top of the hour break. We come back. Hour number 2, we're kicking off right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Weather brought to you by Tidwell.
Sam, what's up? Hearing reports that Christian Robertson is interviewed for the outside linebacker coach position at Georgia. Have you heard about that? If so, Georgia has always tried to take Bama coaches. I heard people talking about. I don't know if he's interviewed. Is that official that he interviewed? I'm not aware of that. But to be fair, I hadn't really looked into it. Let's see. But you have to remember that is his alma mater. And ironically, he recruited me to Georgia. He was a GA at Georgia when I was coming out of high school. He had just finished up playing, and he was working as a GA under Mark Richt and recruited me to the University of Georgia. So I wouldn't be shocked if he did have interest maybe in that position, given that that's his alma mater. I mean, I know he's in a good spot here. I mean, you have the University of Alabama. You got guys like Yanze Pierre about to be drafted this upcoming season. Justin Hill's a really good young player. He's going to be credited for his development. He's going to go on to be a very solid football player as well. So, I mean, I feel like he's in a good spot here. I don't think he would necessarily be looking to move on, but if you're saying maybe the alma mater thing, maybe those connections there, I could see somebody that if I'm just putting myself in the shoes of like if I was coaching and Alabama had an outside linebacker spot open up and I was somewhere else, I was in a good position, but that would probably be the one thing that would take me from where I was at that I thought was a good position. I think that'd be dope to come back to my alma mater. But let me see if I can look this up. If he actually interviewed, I don't. I know Jarvis Jones' name keeps coming up. I mean, he's also a former player there. Was a damn good player. He's one of my favorite players in college when I was coming out of high school. He was a dog. Looks like and he was on their staff. Yeah, he's been mentioned as a candidate. I don't know if I was about to say I don't think he interviewed, but Coleman Hutzler is another name they got there. Former outside linebacker coach at Alabama. He's at Auburn now. Hmm. Brian Early at Missouri. He's done a damn good job over there with those guys. Superfly, what's up? Yeah, that'll be interesting, man. We'll have to see. I mean, that'd be crazy if they did that because then I'm like, well, damn, my guy Jamie was here and he could just bump right into the outside backers coach spot if that were to happen. But I mean, I don't know. I've seen crazy things happen in the coaching world. I mean, there's been times where guys get hired somewhere and they end up right somewhere else in a couple months. Jarvis Jones. Yeah, he was a dog in college. Did he have an injury or something though? I can't remember. He kind of reminds me of like Tim. You know what I mean? Like, but to be fair, man, I try to tell people all the time. Sometimes guys that are really good in college, if they don't necessarily translate great to the NFL, it's not always just like, oh man, he couldn't play in the league, man. There's a lot of dudes that have the talent, but the league is it's a different space, man. Like it could be a number of reasons. There's some guys that struggle just because they're so used to in college, man, everything's like done for you. I mean, so like weight room, nutrition, everything is kept up in the league, man. You're your own boss, right? I mean, you do have workouts and voluntary mini camp, stuff like that, OTAs and all that stuff. But it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot more freedom. Sometimes guys, it's hard for them to have that discipline that's needed to be their best. There's a lot of distractions. You're getting paid a lot of money, more freedom. You know, sometimes it could be. I don't know if it was like that with Jarvis. I'm just saying. I mean, that definitely can sometimes play a role. What do you think about Kirby poaching Bama coaches? Do I think it's done to weaken Bama staff? Nah, I don't think so. I don't necessarily think so. I mean, I'm sure that could be some type of like byproduct where it's like, oh, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to take this guy from them. But if you're asking, like, is that more like one of their motives? Nah. Because at the end of the day, man, when it comes to making a staff, you got to get somebody that's the right fit. I think the reason that works like that is typically there's going to be carryover from Alabama to Georgia. Now, it might look a little bit different now that this new staff doesn't really have any true ties to Alabama or Coach Saban. Because before, remember when Coach Saban was here, Kirby, that system was what Kirby came from, is derived from Coach Saban's system. So there's going to be a lot of carryover. So it makes sense as a coach, you want to get guys that are comfortable with your system, that understand it. You know, you don't have to, but it just helps the transition so much more than having to teach a guy your system, the way you do things. It's so much easier to get a guy where there's familiarity there. So that's probably the biggest reason why you saw a bunch of Alabama assistants. Not necessarily a bunch, but like T-Rob. Whoops. Well, that's weird. Hold on. Hold on one second, guys. Gotta fix this. It's the weirdest thing. My camera just went out for a second. Hold on. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WT. All right, there we go. Sorry, I'm having a couple technical difficulties. All right, now we're back rolling. Sorry, my camera went out for a second. My mic's acting funny. But hour number one, we talked a lot about the Super Bowl last night. Hope you guys had a good Super Bowl weekend. I didn't mention this, Chase. I kept it pretty simple, man. I just watched the game at the house. I made my wings this time. Instead of ordering some wings, man, I got my chef on and I made my wings. Came out pretty good. Now, I will say this. Made buffalo wings, and it was a little bit of an experiment. I was kind of mixing up a little bit, but I almost lost them. I damn near dropped the pan when I was pulling them out. I lost 3 of them, but I managed to save the rest. So I was good with that. And then I had like 6 or 7 left. And I was like, oh, let me heat them back up. So I throw them back in there during the game. I come sit down and watching the game. I completely forget that they were in there. So I completely roasted the rest of them. But the good news though is I got to eat about, 12, 13, 14 of them, enjoyed them. And the rest, unfortunately, kind of got, I guess, trashed. But nonetheless, it was solid. Just laid back. It was fun doing that. Watched the game. Watched the actual halftime show. Thought it was pretty decent. We'll talk about that here in a second. But tell me, Chase, did you do anything fun for the game? How'd you watch it? How'd you spend your Super Bowl weekend?
Yeah, I just kind of watched with a couple of my friends and everything. We ordered out. We tried making food last year and it was a complete disaster. So I learned just kind of take a back seat this time. Try again next year. But I'm glad you made some wings, Christian. That's awesome. Are you a big like finger guy, or like what are the kind of foods do you like during the Super Bowl? Because I know a lot of people like wings. Other people like pizza, burgers, sliders. What foods do you go to?
All right, great question. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my mic again. I know it might sound a little bit different, but anyway, my go-to normally would be pizza, wings, sometimes burgers, man. I'm not gonna lie, I love burgers. Like, give me a burger and I throw everything on it: lettuce, tomato, pickles, onions, ketchup, mustard. Man, I'm a big burger guy. Then if I'm making them like that, I'll probably throw some bacon on there. I kind of make them a little bit like an all-out type of deal. Uh, Sometimes some bratwurst or hot dogs. Now I'm not cooking all this, but I kind of pick a couple of those. Like out of that list, I normally pick a couple. My mom used to make me like the best dips, like game day dips, like a rotel dip with the sausage chunks in there. I mean, insane. I need to get back to starting to make some of that. But or there's another one that was like a 7-layer dip, something like that. It was almost I think that's what it was called, but it had like jalapenos, cheese. Uh, what is it called? I can't remember, but it's almost like kind of like a Spanish tasting kind of dip. But stuff like that, man, you can't go wrong. Those are normally my go-to. But last night, since it was just me chilling, I just threw some wings, some tater tots together. I just kept it simple because I was like, I'm not about to cook a whole bunch and spend hours cooking all this food, and it's just me chilling here watching it. But that's typically what I go to. But like I said, it was cool though, man. I got a new, I guess, process to make these wings. I'm gonna start doing it a lot more often because they turned out really damn good, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. And all I did was I got frozen wings from the grocery store, and I'm not gonna lie, it was way better than I thought. Way better than I thought, and probably a lot cheaper too doing it that way. So that was that. Now let's talk about this, Chase, because I've been wanting to talk about this for a minute now. We haven't gotten to it, but we got the halftime show. Everybody's been talking about this halftime show, Chase. So let's dive into it. Bear with me. I know my mic might sound a little bit different because I'm using my camera mic at this point. I don't know what's going on with my actual mic. We'll figure it out in a second. But halftime show, Chase. Tell me first, did you watch the actual halftime show? I know there was a secondary halftime show, I guess, on YouTube or something. Um, I hadn't seen it. I saw clips of it on social media. But in terms of the Bad Bunny halftime show, the actual halftime show, the NFL, uh, I thought it was good, man. I thought it was entertaining. I will say this: I can understand how majority of people that don't. All right, let's just say this: there's probably maybe what 17. I think I saw 17% of the population speak Spanish. So I understand if you don't speak a language, it can be kind of hard to keep up with something or really enjoy it fully. However, the way I view this thing is, Chase, I mean, like music is like how you feel, right? The rhythm, the energy, the vibe. And I grew up before I even started speaking Spanish. I speak Spanish now, but growing up, I didn't speak Spanish. But I loved a lot of, I mean, reggaeton. I mean, there's a lot of Hispanic music that I enjoyed, Latino music, because it sounded good. I just enjoyed it. The beats were good. I don't know, it brought good energy. So I do believe you can enjoy uh, music or performances that might not necessarily be in your native tongue. There's a possibility there, but I can understand how some people would be a little like, "Ah, man, it's hard for me to fully get into it." But my thing is, I guess I don't know. Like Smitty said, it just everything turned so political that it was just weird to me. Like I know Bad Bunny has had like comments that he was a little critical of, like policy here with ICE. I'm not going to dive into all that, but I just look at it as, I mean, how many Americans have you heard criticize people? I'm saying, eh, and then I think there's like a fake thing going around of this guy burning. That never happened. It was AI. And then in the performance, it had nothing. His performance was not political. It literally was. It was just talking about his culture, right? It was demonstrating the Puerto Rican culture, which I thought was really cool. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I like learning about new cultures, and that's one thing I can say after like learning Spanish and really immersing myself in different cultures. I recommend it to everybody. And to me, I've always thought that was like one of the coolest. Like, bro, we're all in this. Like, life is about meeting people, exploring. It's crazy because like a lot of Americans like love to go vacation in other countries and other places, and utilize all that stuff. But when it comes to like learning about the culture or even just experiencing a little bit, it's like, no, we don't want that. And I get it's a Super Bowl, it's a big event. But I'm like, dude, it's literally a 12 to 15 minute performance where there's dancing, there's so many other things. It's art. So you might not understand the lyrics that he's saying, but you should be able to understand the message that he's trying to convey, that the performance is showing, that it's displaying. Like there's the thing where he like gave his younger self the Grammy that he won. Thought that was cool. I mean, you saw like the fields, like the workers, like it's a common thing of their culture, them working, thinking like sugarcane fields, like the power line thing. That was definitely a message about Puerto Rico, some of the issues they struggle with the electricity and stuff over there. Again, and what would you expect? Any artist stuff, just like when you have African American artists that perform, there's a lot of messages and references there. It just was weird to me. I'm like, I've never heard of us ever going as far as doing a whole separate halftime show. It just was a little over the top, in my opinion. And then you look at it, it's like Shakira performed what 5 years ago or something like that. I know majority of her songs are in English, but still, it was definitely very Latin themed. And I mean, we didn't have a separate thing for that. I like if you're talking about the language barrier, okay, fair. I mean, like, a little bit different, but to turn everything so political is so annoying. I just wish we could you got the Super Bowl, you got a halftime performance, literally a musical performance. It is what it is. I mean, you like it, cool. You don't, no big deal. But that's really all it should be. But to me, I would say this: I thought it was good, Chase, good vibe, good presentation. I thought the production was really cool. Like I said, I listened to some Bad Bunny. I can't sit there and say I know every single song, but I know a good bit of his songs. But at the end of the day, I just like the vibe. To me, I thought it had good energy to it. It was cool. Now I will say this: if they, a Super Bowl in Miami, I think would have been even more fitting. And I know there's a big Latin population and culture in California, but Miami is literally almost like an extension, right, of Latin culture, right? It's almost like another Latin country. At least that's the way it feels. I think that would have been really fitting to do something like that, at least of that genre. But nonetheless, I think I don't know. I thought it was a pretty solid performance, and it's just kind of annoying that everything turns political. But what'd you think about it, Chase? What would you grade it? I guess 1 through 10. What would you give it?
I loved it. I was doing bachata dance moves in the living room. It was a lot of fun just learning about the culture of Puerto Rico and learning about Bad Bunny. I listened to him a little bit. I have some Spanish speaking friends as well, and they were kind of putting me on game. But just the little Easter eggs I was seeing in the performance, like the power lines, the different foods that you saw, his background, and I didn't know this either, but a couple got married. In the performance. So that was pretty interesting. But yeah, to your point, Christian, I think it's important that a lover of music, man, you gotta open your mind a little bit. I understand the language may be different, but the message is still the same. And I feel like there's a lot of love, and especially in a world where everything is so political. I think it was awesome just to see everybody dancing and just getting along for once, and just being able to learn more about Spanish. And you speak Spanish pretty fluently, and I try to learn as well. But it was nice to just see also Bad Bunny really showing honor to like Daddy Yankee and a lot of other Latin artists that came before our time. So, and if you didn't watch it, that's okay. Everybody has their preferences, but I think if you didn't watch it, I advise you to, not just because of the music, but the history. I think if you don't review your history, you're doomed to repeat it. So I think it's important to learn more, not just about the United States, but also about different countries, because you never know what could happen if it was flipped. So, but I love it. Bring another Spanish speaking artist to the stage. It was weird seeing Lady Gaga on the on the halftime show, but I forgot they have a song together. But overall, I love the Christian.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought it was really good performance, and like you said, I mean, to each his own, without a doubt. I mean, if you don't like it, no big deal. Just like every year, we always criticize or at least kind of grade the performance, right? Everybody like so that I'm cool with that. Like if people are just like, oh man, I didn't think it was a great performance. That's normal. We do that every single year. They did it with Kendrick Lamar last year. Remember, he had the whole beef with Drake and kind of built off of that, and he performed some of those songs. It's just like I said. I mean, I think it's just at the end of the day, you're never going to be able to please everybody. Just like if you do have a classic band. I know people mentioned, was it Metallica? I think they're from that San Francisco area. I think I could have seen them doing a Super Bowl performance. I think it would have been great too, but there would have been a whole population or a bunch of people that aren't, metal or classic rock fans that wouldn't have enjoyed it. Then if you do hip hop, there's a bunch that we know that don't like hip hop. At the end of the day, man, you're not going to ever please everybody. But I guess what I would say is, listen, the dude is literally probably the most, I guess, highest selling artist like worldwide. And it helps given that there's such a big, Latin culture throughout the world. But I compare him, like, for people when they kept asking me, like, who is Bad Bunny? Like, I get it, the name kind of throws you off, but I'm like, he's kind of the equivalent of like a Latin Drake, not necessarily by the music itself, but in terms of just like his status, what his success. This guy is really big time. And like I said, if you really just have an open mind and you kind of just sit back and kind of listen to the music, man, it's a great vibe. And some people are, oh, I don't know what he's talking about. He's probably dissing them. He's not. It literally is typical pop, R&B, hip hop type music, those types of lyrics talking about dancing, girls, that lifestyle. That's it. That's literally all it was. But anyways, want to get y'all's thoughts. 205-342-9904 is the number to the program. You guys want to chime in? We're going to talk some more. We got this whole Bediako thing going on, by the way, that we have to find the latest on that. Still no official decision made to my knowledge. I'm going to keep checking it, but haven't seen anything yet, which does mean, again, he's still just going to keep playing until it's official, which he played this weekend when they played against Auburn on the road, got the dub. So far, he's still in the clear as of now until we get that final decision. So we're going to hit a timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you can't cook. You're not one of those people who say that they can, but when people come over for dinner, they find out the hard way, you can't. You can't even microwave popcorn, and that's literally just one button. Plus, measuring and patience are huge parts of cooking, and that's just not you. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
There we go. All right. Let me make sure my mic is fixed over here. Bro, that was the weirdest thing. I think we're good now. I think my mic's back. Yep. All right. All right. Good deal. I don't know what was going on. I was using my camera mic. His lyrics were of debauchery. How do you know, Jeremy? ¿Cómo vas a saber eso y no hablas español? No tiene sentido. Check out the concert where he dude is talentless. Like I said, look, if you judge them or criticize them as an artist, to each his own. You understand them? Sí, de hecho, sí. Pero ya les dije, hablo español y por eso yo aprendí por mi cuenta en casa, así que no es para tanto para mí. Pero para mucha gente entiendo que es un poco difícil, le cuesta entenderlo. Pero, aunque, no soy nativo, sí, sigue costándome un poco. So, yeah, I can understand them. Not perfect, but I can. They were translated. I didn't see any translations. Only translations I saw were in Spanish. I didn't see any in English. Yeah, but Phil, I'm curious. Did your wife struggle to understand him? Because he has like a strong accent in Spanish. Like, it's hard for me to understand him. Like, even though I speak Spanish, it's hard for me to understand him. But performance was trash, very dark. How's it dark? Yeah, exactly. You can always go and search it too. Does listening to Spanish music or movies help broaden your spectrum of the Spanish language? See, Sam, I appreciate the open-mindedness, man. Not saying everybody needs to learn Spanish, but I appreciate the open-mindedness. To answer your question, yeah, it does. But if I were to recommend somebody like that wanted to start learning a little bit, I would say start small, because if you start at like a native level and you're just listening to stuff, it's hard. I know a lot of people say that, like, oh, you just have to listen to it and listen to it, and the more that you immerse yourself, you'll start learning. And there's some truth to that, but it really works. Like, I would start with like a kids show, right? Like, that's going to be a lot more beneficial, and then work your way up. Or there's videos designed for Spanish learners where they speak slow. Like, it might be like, estoy usando mi celular, and like they'll show you what they're using, like estoy llamando por teléfono, like I'm talking on the phone. That way you can kind of like, you see what they're saying. Does that make sense? Or like if I can say like estoy tomando este bebido, like I'm drinking this drink. That's a good way to learn if you want to. But there's a book too. Like for me, like I taught myself like with a book. I went and bought a Spanish book, and then I studied that book to learn the grammar. And then I started watching a bunch of videos, and then I started speaking with Spanish speakers uh, every day. How long did it take you to grasp it? Hey, if you're interested, I'd be glad to tell you like some tips. But it took me probably, I would say, about a year to get to like a basic conversational point, like to be able to have like, simple conversation. Well, really 6 months for like simple conversations, but like a year to kind of conversate a little bit more normal. And then right now, en este momento llevo casi 2 años aprendiéndolo en serio, así que diría que con el tiempo vas a sentirse un poco más cómodo. Like I've been learning like over 2 years now, but like as you can tell, like I mean, like I'm like I could go. I talk to people all the time in Spanish. Have a sister-in-law from Nicaragua. That's cool. That's dope. Yeah, I'm telling you guys. I mean, it's a cool culture. I get it. It's a lot different than the States. You might not be used to it, but I just recommend anybody, man. Just broaden your horizons. But you'd be shocked, man. Like the food's great, the music's great. Like it's just cool. Like there's so much life outside of the United States that people just aren't really, I guess, exposed to. And I just recommend, like, at least like just be open minded, man. I'm not saying you have to sit there and like adapt to it and live your life like that. No, but I'm just saying, it's to me, it's cool. At least, I don't know. I like culture, I like history, I like stuff like that. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We've been talking Super Bowl, a little bit about the halftime show, which I'm a little shocked, man. It's which in a good way. I thought it was going to be a lot more harsh, man. I know we had some people that were like, man, I'm not having it, but to be honest, it seems like our chat's pretty cool, man. Like I said, criticizing show is no big deal, but I just always urge people, man, just have an open mind and just be cool and respectful with the other cultures. I mean, again, I think it's cool, man. That's what life has to offer. At the end of the day, man, we're all in this together, right? That's what it boils down to. We're all different, and that's really, if you think about it, that's pretty American of us to to embrace being different. That's literally what the United States is. I think sometimes people forget that, but I mean, we're one big melting pot of a bunch of different backgrounds, cultures, and so forth. So I don't know. Like I said, I didn't have a problem with that. It was cool, and thought I did a good job. But anyway, in terms of moving on to some more talk, we got the Bediako situation. Chase, I haven't seen any updates, so I don't believe there is a decision that is officially made just yet. So we'll keep on watching that. Hopefully there is one soon, but I guess the longer it drags out, the longer he can just continue playing without having to worry about this whole deal. But I don't listen. I don't think it's going to drag out much longer. I think there should be a decision probably made by today, if I had to guess, but I guess we'll have to see on that. But in terms of the game itself, Alabama did go on the road, get the dub over Auburn, 96-92. Bediako did play in the game. He finished with how many did he finish with? 12 points. Finished with 12 points off the bench for Alabama in the matchup. Looks like LeBaron Philon with 25. led the team. So I don't know. I mean, Chase, let me ask your thoughts, man. I mean, do you think the Bediako experiment's almost done, or do you think we're still going to get Charles Bediako playing, or do you think the Iron Bowl of basketball was his last one?
I think he has some more games in him. I think the longer this goes, I'm not going to be surprised if this goes all the way to the SEC tournament, Christian. I would have thought this would have been done last week, but I think he said about 4 o'clock. But now that it's extending, that means there's more to discuss that we don't know about. I don't know. I think with Charles being in the lineup and being in the rotation, I don't see much of a difference for Alabama. I watched the game over the weekend, and I just feel like, there's still injuries, and I feel like with Auburn, and they're a mess in itself. So I think once you go against better talent like a Tennessee, Kentucky, they came back from a huge lead to beat Tennessee, excuse me. Then you have Missouri, you have Florida. So there's other teams that I think if you want to see what Bediako can do, you got to go against better teams. Because if we're going against teams like Auburn, they're not going to do anything, especially when we go up against the SEC tournament. And then we really want to go far. We want to make a Final Four. We got to put Bediako in situations so he can flourish. But I feel like it's going to be a waste if we're just putting him in situations where it's like, okay, that's it. We're seeing the same thing we did in the G League, and that's not going to help Alabama. They need somebody that can play both sides of the court, that can put in minutes and has the experience he has. Like he's not this new basketball player. He's played in the G League. He has pro experience. He understands Nate Oates' system, what they like, what they don't like, being in the right spaces. But it's just like he's either a step too late or he's doing too much. And I feel like that's going to cost Alabama down the season when right now they're 16 and 7, excuse me. And they need as much momentum as it can get because their schedule doesn't get any better. So the wins they can accumulate, the better. And you don't want to give teams like Auburn, who's 14 and 9, and their season has been kind of up and down. You don't want to give teams like that a hope because you look wounded and you want to be on the floor as untouchable. No matter if your record's bad, you don't want to reflect that. You want to play from 0 to 60 minutes, best in of the offense and defense. But yeah, to answer your question, I think Charles, he'll play a couple more games because I thought this was going to get nipped last week. Obviously not. So that means there's more of a leeway for Charles to extend his season.
Yeah, we'll see, Chase. It's interesting because the temporary restraining order that was extended last week, I believe it was last week, but the most recent one is scheduled to expire tomorrow. So either the decision is going to come or I guess the temporary restraining order is expired. And I don't know if there is no decision made before then, does the restraining order get reset again? I'm not 100% sure, but I do know Alabama's next contest is this Wednesday against Ole Miss. So there's a chance that he still is playing for permanently for the rest of the season. I guess there could be the chance that it gets pushed again, like the extension, and then he's still playing. I don't know, guys. I'll be honest with you. It sounds like if there is no decision made today, more than likely there will be at least another temporary while the decision is still being discussed. I just feel like it's a very complicated situation. They're probably trying to put every last ounce of, I guess, thought into it. I mean, you think about it, it really is like we talked about Friday. It's a landmark decision because while people want to say this is just like the other guys that are from Europe or other situations, really not. I mean, he is the first guy to actually come to college, declare for the draft, go play in the G League, go play professional, then come back. He is the first to do that. Even the guy from Baylor, he never came to college. He got drafted out of high school, if I'm not mistaken. Then he showed up. So this could open a new door for guys to come to school first, then leave, then come back, which we're already seeing the guy, Amari Bailey, doing that. So I think they're really trying to just weigh this whole thing. And I think we had Adam, who was our official representation here on the show. I mean, he talked about it. I mean, there is a good chance that because that Charles Bediako has an example of other pro players coming and playing in college, he does have that in his favor. Now, the whole argument about what he was making in the G League and how he didn't know NIL was going to take off and be what it was, that to me is not going to win him this case. That doesn't give you grounds for, I guess, I don't know, trying to come back to school and play. But you could argue that, well, how come those European guys are able to do it, even though it's different? But how come they can do it and I can't? That to me is probably the strongest point he has, like we talked about. And if they do decide, that's probably what it's going to be based on. But we'll have to see. We're going to keep waiting on it. But I'll keep refreshing and seeing some updates. But I do know, again, the temporary restraining order that he's currently on ends tomorrow. There is a game Wednesday, and they are currently still discussing the whole matter itself. There is no final decision being made. So that's the latest on that. And to your point, I mean, it is a big deal to have him. I'm not saying he's necessarily, the answer itself, like if they're going to make a deep run or not, but he definitely gives them a much better chance with what he has to offer, hence why it was so important to get that type of assistance in the first place. Not saying it, I mean, to be fair, allegedly he enrolled in school and wanted to come back. I'm sure there was definitely some mutual interest without a doubt. But all right, let's do this. Let's hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll keep on discussing. We got some app messages with the listeners on the radio side of things have to say, and we'll keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
The Tuscaloosa Thread News Update is brought to you by Tuscaloosa Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Tuscaloosa's destination for iconic Jeeps. Find adventure, power, and performance today at Tuscaloosa Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
I'm attorney Stephen Mizrano. Did you know that insurance companies will only offer you pennies on the dollar for your injury? When you're in a wreck, you need an attorney who knows the law and will fight for you.
Why do y'all want folks to lie when asking the Olympics about what's going on? I'm not sure what you're talking about there, G. And I'll be honest, I hadn't even watched the Olympics. I saw the unfortunate crash of Lindsey Vonn, but that was all I saw. Let's see. Well, I don't know what you guys are talking about in the chat, man. And believe me, I do plenty of research. I mean, I don't talk about politics on here just because I just think there's better time and place sports show. But I think some people kind of just read in a little bit too much into certain things. Like the blatant disrespect or forced woke idea. I mean, I don't know how his performance had anything to do with any of that stuff. I genuinely don't. There's nothing in the performance that pushed any of that. I mean, if someone wanted to say like that, there was like two male dancers dancing. That would be maybe the only thing other than him speaking another language, but which I don't see how speaking another language is blatant disrespect or woke ideology. I just think it's just a different language, which there's a lot of people in this country that also speak another language, including myself. Snowboard cross events. Some skiers not represent the USA. Like I said, I didn't even really watch the Olympics. Former professional players playing in college basketball. Why should it be different with Charles? Well, I think with Charles, it's like I mentioned. He came to school, declared for the draft, and now he's coming back. That's why it's different, you know. Listen, if it was like the European guys, he never came to college, it would be different because that is a lot more, I guess, similar of a case. But it's the fact that he. Like when basically what happens is like when you declare, I mean, you're basically forfeiting the rest of your eligibility, just like in football, any other sport. And these guys know that. When you come to school, then you declare early, you are forfeiting the remainder of your eligibility. That's just how it works. So that's why it's different. Yeah, of course I was named Christian. I mean, my name is Christian. My dad is a pastor. So I think it's pretty obvious, Agent, that yeah, I am. No, listen. I know there's a lot of symbolism in music. What I'm talking about specifically at the event, there's nothing in it. And if you claim that you didn't watch the show and you watched another show, how would you know what was in it? You know what I mean? That doesn't really make much sense to me. But like I said, to each his own. I don't like getting all political and stuff. I mean, I promise, if I'm smart enough to teach myself a second language, I think I'm smart enough to understand when people are conveying certain things. There's a bunch of American artists that actually do convey, negative beliefs like that and, opposition to Christianity in their own music. And I just don't see that same reaction, right? I mean, even some of the people that you guys probably listen to, you can find symbolism in all types of music. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's one thing just to, I don't know. I just wish people were a little more open minded. I mean, I think people are just diving too deep into something that's just not there. With all due respect, I mean, like I said, I have no problem agreeing to disagree, but I just think some people are just taking it way too. The dude performed at the halftime show. I'm telling you guys, I mean, I speak Spanish. I heard what he said. That he literally said, "God bless America." Then when he was in the camera, he said, my name is," he said his name. "I'm here because I never stopped believing in myself, and you too should believe in yourself." I mean, it was a very positive message. So then, like when they ran out the flags, I mean, the United States flag was the first flag they ran out with. And for people that don't know, Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. So, like I said, I'm not trying to turn this political, even give you guys a history lesson. I think think people should just just do a little more research and just inform themselves a little bit more just before immediately just assuming all these things about stuff. It's just really not that deep, man. It's really just a performance. Dude sang music, did a performance, just like everybody does every single year, whether it's Shakira, whether it's U2, whether it's Usher. I mean, it's literally that simple, guys. That's what I'm saying. I think people are just making it way more. I mean, and it's because the climate that's going on right now probably influences a lot of people. I mean, we just everything is so politically driven. It's really annoying. You can't even watch sports. You can't do anything. Everything turns into a big political battle between both parties. And at the end of the day, what's really lost is just basic common sense and people that just have rational ideas and basic empathy and reasoning to understand that people are different. Nobody's going to think the same. Just because you think a little bit different doesn't make that other person necessarily wrong. I mean, yes, there are certain things that I think we all could agree definitely are wrong, but for the most part, at the end of the day, I just wish there's more people that just had just simple reasoning, man. Because I'll be honest with you, I think in itself, I mean, you got people on both sides that do too much, and then when everybody becomes extremists, I mean, there's no positivity from that or nothing that will be gained from that. The only way to progress and move forward is to have productive conversations, which you can't do when you think emotionally. The only progress will be made from logical reasoning. So that would be my advice to you guys, and that's not political advice. It's just at the end of the day, just be a good person. Treat others the way you want people to treat you. Respect people. I mean, for all the people that are so hateful, but talk about religion, whatever religion you claim. I mean, religion is based about love and treating others with respect and caring for one another. Unfortunately, that's very lost in today's society, which I don't understand that. I mean, people are quick to put Bible verses in their bios, but then also have a lot of, hateful remarks being said just because they don't like something. You don't like it? No big deal. Move on. Turn the channel, listen to something else, respect that person, go about your day. At the end of the day, I mean, like I said, we all got one life to live and we're trying to do this thing together. Not going to accomplish anything with all this negativity and hatefulness that you see, like I said, it's not just on one side, it's any side. That's why at the end of the day, like I said, man, I like sports because sports is one common thing that brings people together. No matter what your race is, no matter what your religion is. Anytime I sat in a locker room or anytime I sat in a huddle, we've never had one dumbass conversation about any of this nonsense. Our common goal was to go out there and whoop somebody's ass and win championships. And that's what I do appreciate about sports. So that's just my 2 cents. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right. We've talked about the Super Bowl, talked a little bit about Bediako, Chase. I'm going to be completely honest with you, man. In terms of anything else, we're kind of wide open, but we do have a couple of app messages to get to. Just responding to some of the stuff we were talking about earlier, I think. But we got one from Barner Hater in Dothan. He says, how about Bama basketball? Haters are big mad. Even if the judge rules against Bediako, I think he will. Parentheses is what he said. We still have a very winnable next 4 games coming up. A great chance to stack wins and build momentum. Funny how all the FOGs, football only gumps, were ready to write this team off after the Florida game. So I'll say this. I don't know if it's leaning one way or the other, to be honest with you. I really don't. I don't know. I could see a world where it gets denied. And I don't know if you guys reckon this. I want to say Judge Pruitt is the judge in charge of the, what is it? I think the case with Miles. I know that's completely irrelevant, but the name sounded familiar, and I think that's why it did. But anyway, we'll have to see. But in terms of, I think they can win without Bediako. In my opinion, I just think it's going to be a lot tougher because we saw how this team was looking before he joined the squad, or he rejoined, I should say. And in terms of writing the team off, I didn't write our team off, but I did say that it definitely didn't look too great after that Florida game. It just didn't. They are looking better now, but to me, I think right now we feel inconsistent. And I know we're dealing with injuries, a number of things, but I'm not one of these people that are like saying, "Oh, Coach Oates or his system isn't going to work." I mean, we did just see him go and not only win, multiple conference championships, but also make deep runs in the tournament, right? With the same system, same type of style. So I don't think I just think, unfortunately, there's some holes that this basketball team has in some key areas that they have to improve. And I think it's just up to them to make that decision. Sometimes they don't play great defense. I mean, sometimes we're getting beat on the glass. I mean, we have to play a little bit tougher and do some things better. And I think they do have a chance without a doubt. And one thing I know about basketball is you can kind of get hot at like any moment almost. You know what I mean, Chase? Like, if basketball is one of those sports where sometimes, man, the teams that get hot late like that, they don't slow down. And I think that's kind of what he's describing. Get some momentum going, especially around this time of year, and try to get yourself a good bid. And that way you're playing your best ball as you go into March Madness. We got another one from Poppy. Says, I watched another channel during the halftime and flipped back over at the start of the third quarter. Roll Tide. Yeah, like I said, no big deal, man. If you didn't enjoy it or didn't watch, no big deal. But I do recommend people check it out, though. It was definitely entertaining, in my opinion. We got another one from Barnard. He says, I respect your opinion, but disagree. It's not about him singing in Spanish. It's about the great replacement theory. Look at Europe. Let me see. I don't want to read all that. About destroying. All right. Basically, I'll paraphrase. I don't want to get all political and stuff. Basically, just saying, losing American traditions and values with that theory. Some of the core principles of it, like I said, I'm paraphrasing right now. None of it. He's saying none of it's by accident. Have no problem with dancing or that culture, but it's the broader issue. The people that Smitty mentioned, they didn't sing in Spanish. So, like I said, I understand the language barrier. I could understand it being a little bit different, but like Chase said, I mean, it's about having an open mind. It's, I don't know, trying to listen to something else, experience something else, and just see how it goes. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Just like, I mean, it's no different with foods, right? I mean, you try different food. from other cultures. I know a lot of people that love going and doing Taco Tuesday on Tuesdays. You know, I know a lot of people love to go eat Asian food, whether it's Chinese or Japanese. I mean, like, I don't know, man. I just wish people had more excitement about life and cultures like I do, Chase, or like you do, like a lot of people do. I don't know, man. Like, it's when it get boring if you just never experience anything. You know what I mean? Like, if you just never experience like anything outside of the US. And maybe that's what maybe these people need to try going again. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with their opinion. Their opinions are fine. That's the difference with me. I respect other people's opinions. I mean, even if I agree or disagree. But I just would say, like, maybe Chase, they need to try to go experience another culture. I mean, go to Europe, go to Asia. I mean, I'm not saying go live there. Trust me. I'm not saying that. So don't take what I'm saying. Like, oh, if you don't like it, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, go plan a vacation there, man. Like, what you'll find is most of the time, I'm not saying everybody has, I mean, because I've been over in England. I played a football game there. I played, no, I didn't play, but I've gone to Mexico. So I've been out of the country. And I must say, I know a lot of people that travel a lot. And it's always a really cool experience. I've always thought it's really cool, like getting to know other cultures. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's different. I'm biracial. I'm Nigerian. I did my research on my ancestry. I'm Nigerian, Chase. I'm Italian. I'm like 20% Italian. I'm like 20% Nigerian. I'm like 15 or so percent Scottish. I'm a whole bunch of different stuff. So maybe that's why I've always thought it was really cool. So I mean, I grew up with a white mother who was Italian and Scottish, and you know, that whole culture kind of deal. Then my dad's side, growing up around them, completely different. It was really cool. So I've always just thought it was really interesting to know different cultures. I grew up, I know people wonder why I speak Spanish. I grew up with a bunch of Hispanics. I played soccer growing up, and I played on a Mexican soccer team. So I was surrounded by a number of Hispanics, and I always thought it was really cool going and eating their food at their house, like their parents used to make, like tamales. Like, I don't know if you tried one, Chase, but they're so good. That's not a common dish that you can't even really get that at a Mexican restaurant. That's like authentic Mexican food. Really good stuff. Like, they used to host these parties like in these neighborhoods, man, that would, I mean, just be so many people there, and they cook this food fresh. So good, man. Just really, I don't know, man. It's always been really cool. So I don't know. Like I said, I respect everybody's opinion. Just recommend going on a vacation. Go to, I don't know, go down to Mexico. Go over to Europe. Hell, if you can, be like Dalvin Tomlinson. I just saw, a matter of fact, I saw a clip of Dalvin Tomlinson, one of my teammates. He plays with the Cardinals, and he was spotted in Japan, just experiencing the culture. And they had a really cool moment. There was a Japanese photographer there that obviously they stood out, 6'5", 300-pound dudes, just him and his teammate, and took pictures of him, and it went viral, you know? So I don't know if you guys have the means to do it. I know it's expensive to do that stuff nowadays, but if you do have the time and the means, definitely try it. I think you guys would definitely enjoy it. All right, we got to hit one more time out. When we come back, we'll wrap up this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Home base.
Shout out to Andrew Sports Medicine. Speaking of, I see the comment about Lindsey Vogn's crash, man. Yeah, I hope prayers up for her. That was crazy. I heard she tore her ACL and then was still competing, and then she had that crash, and it looked bad. I heard she was airlifted, man. So Carla says spent 14 years in Japan. It was lovely. That's dope, man. I've never been to Asia, but I think it would be really cool. I've heard a lot of cool stuff out there. I've heard a lot of cool stuff about out there. Japan, I've heard a lot of cool things about. I had a best friend growing up that was from Seoul, Korea. He, didn't speak a lick of English. I had to teach his mother English when I was in middle school. Maybe that's why I enjoy culture so much. I was blessed and fortunate to grow up around a bunch of people from different backgrounds. But yeah, I had a best friend that was from Korea. Matter of fact, I talked to him not long ago, man. Talked to him not long ago. Traveled and spent significant time in 25 countries. Dang, that's dope. Enjoy learning about their cultures and their way of life. Always look forward to getting home. Yeah, hey, and I'll say this. Yeah, I'm specifically saying like to visit. There's no place I'd rather live than the States. I always tell like a lot of my friends that do live in other countries, like, because they always ask, "Hey, did you ever move somewhere else?" I'm like, "Nah, man, I enjoy the States. I really do. We're not perfect. I know we got our own stuff here, just like everywhere else does, but I enjoy living here. I really do. But when I've traveled to other countries, I wouldn't want to live in another country, but I definitely really enjoyed anytime I've like even London was it was cool. I mean, I know a lot of people complain about the food and stuff, but I don't know, man. I just get so excited to have experiences like that. Asia's culture definitely different, but very interesting. Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. I've had friends stationed out in Japan. They've told me that. I had one of my best friends was stationed in Germany for a while, and he loved it. He told me a bunch of stories about being in Germany. Karaoke bars in Tokyo. That's funny. Stationed in Guam, but took trips to Tokyo and Melbourne. Australia is dope. That's cool. Had a great time in both places. Japanese locals. That is funny. I have heard like over in Asia, a lot of times when they see like black folks, they think they're like athletes or entertainers or something like that. Somebody in here said they're Russian. Now, I would probably be a little careful visiting. No disrespect to the country, because I listen. The architecture there is actually, I think, like one of the nicest in the world. But yeah, I'd probably be a little careful. Only just because I mean, I obviously probably not the best relations, and I know that after hearing about the whole Brittany Griner thing, man, it's like, now granted, I don't drink, I don't do anything, so I wouldn't have that problem, but you just never know, man. I'd be a little cautious about that. But heading to Kenya, dang, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I always said, man, like, because I like to hunt. I said I wouldn't mind taking a trip to Africa and hunting a little bit, but I'm not big on, in terms of like hunting in Africa, I'd be very specific. There's a lot of stuff that I would say absolutely not. Other people would consider hunt. I wouldn't do. I would do only a certain species out there, but I always thought that'd be really cool. I had a friend from Guam in high school. Somebody mentioned Guam again. Were you influenced about the Spanish from being around your teammates? Yeah. Yeah, one of my best friends in middle school was Mexican, and playing soccer like with that team, it was always cool because they were always speaking Spanish, and I've always wanted to learn a different language because I thought it was the coolest thing listening to all of them speak a different language. So yeah, that's what influenced me. Then basically 2 years ago, man, after my mom passed, I was just looking for something that I wanted to kind of really just dive into something to kind of keep busy. And I always told myself that I wanted to learn Spanish or a different language, and Spanish is the second most common language here in the States. So I wanted to choose a language that I could actually use. I was going to try to learn Italian since I'm Italian, but I was like, man, I don't know who I would speak Italian with, like on the daily. Spanish, if you can go anywhere and find somebody to speak Spanish. So yeah, that's why I ended up choosing Spanish, and I've done it every day since I started in November of 23, and I've practiced pretty much every single day since then. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Only a couple minutes here. We're about to close things out. That said, big thanks to everybody tuning in today. I know it's been a very interesting show, and you guys know me. I hate, diverting outside of sports, but generally was curious about thoughts on the show itself, because it's pretty much the talk of social media. But listen, one thing I can say is I do take pride in, whether I agree with someone or don't agree, or we disagree, I'll always respect everybody else's opinion, and I always just urge people to do the same, man. I think more people should just have an open mind. I think more people should be able to have a conversation where you can, at the end of the day, just say we can agree to disagree and keep it moving. And I think that's one of the only ways we'll ever be able to have progress or find any way to make some type of positive change in the world. So don't get too caught up in the politics would be my advice as we close things out, man. Just at the end of the day, man, find some common ground, respect somebody else's opinion, and agree, disagree, and just keep it pushing. At the end of the day, we all have one thing in common, that we're all sports fans, especially Alabama fans, so we all can agree on that much at least. Real quick, got to remind you about our friends over at Lamparello Law Education and Advocacy, founded by attorney and professor Adam Lamparello. Lamparello Law works with high school, college, and graduate students on academic and career success, providing mentoring, exam, and test-taking preparation, subject matter mastery, application strategy, personal statements, and much more. Also, legal representation for students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct matters, First Amendment cases, NIL issues, all criminal defense matters. Make sure you guys check out our guy, Adam, known for representing clients with genuine care, passion, and relentless advocacy. If you guys want help from Lamparello Law, 201-317-5115 is the number, or you can visit their website that will be launched very, very, very soon, Lamparello-law.com. Again, that is Lamparello Law, Education Advocacy. And yes, that is our official legal representation here on the Miller's Edge. We got to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow, joined by Clint Lamb at the top of the hour on a Talking Tuesday right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
You've been listening to the Miller's Edge, tackling sports daily.
I don't know why that was so loud in my headphones. All right. Good deal. Definitely a little bit different episode today, but kind of expected that, guys. Kind of expected that. But like I said, man, at the end of the day, I appreciate all you guys tuning in, offering your opinion, always being a part of what we're doing here on the show, man. If you guys haven't, hit that like button on the way out. Tomorrow we'll be joined by Clint, so we'll bring it back a little bit towards football, a little bit, get the latest with what's going on there and more, and keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. G, we'll see you, Phil. Jeremy, Agent, we'll see you guys. Dr. Crystal was in here. Carlos, we'll see you, brother. Smitty, let's see who else, man, that I might have missed. I know it was in here recently. Ebony was in here. Wait, hold on. I think I missed her question. Do you mind sharing what you mentioned before to help learning new languages? I don't know if she's still in here, but yeah, I'll talk. I can do it tomorrow, but basically what helped me was dang, Adam, come on. Adam, you didn't have to do that, man. We're about to get out. Adam is insane, man. Adam, seriously, thank you, man. You didn't have to do that, brother. Dang, man, I feel bad. Adam is always so generous, man. Like literally. But yeah, if Ebony, you're still listening, basically, I bought a grammar book to learn the grammar, because I mean, in my head, I don't know. I'm a very logical thinker. Like to me, I'm like, I don't know. Math is kind of my thing. Like numbers, I like being able to make sense of something. So I wanted to learn the grammar first. I know a lot of people just like listen to it a whole bunch, but I wanted to like know like the whys. You know what I mean? Like why or how this works. So I bought a grammar book. I learned the grammar. I just kept studying that grammar just to really kind of like reinforce it. And then I would practice speaking every day. I would practice listening to things that were a little bit easier to understand. And then I started speaking with people. Then I met people on there's an app. I recommend it to a lot of our listeners that are learning Spanish, but it's called Hello Talk. But basically you can download it. It's free. And you can learn any language that you want. And basically the way it works is you join like chat rooms. They're basically like chat rooms to conversate and really just exchange languages. So I would join rooms where there are Spanish speakers that wanted to learn English. And I obviously was an English speaker wanting to learn Spanish. And we would just have a language exchange. I did that a lot. And I still do. I don't use it as much because now I'm in a point where, I mean, I would say I'm without a doubt fluent. Like, I mean, I'm still practicing to improve, but I don't need to necessarily talk with those people every day. I can kind of just, um, I don't know, get away with. I don't know. Even if I'm just like sitting here just practicing, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you can use AI too to practice languages. I know a lot of people are kind of weird about AI, but in terms of just pulling it up and saying, "Hey, give me a prompt to practice speaking" or something like that. That helps a lot too. Kind of just putting yourself in that position, and then the last thing I would say is kind of like narrating your day. Like I used to do that a lot, kind of explaining what I'm doing, uh, just to kind of, I don't know, just keep finding ways to practice. But the most important thing is you constantly surround yourself with the language. It's no different than English, you know. So I would like listen to or change my phone to Spanish. I would watch social media videos in Spanish. Just the more you kind of consume the content, the more you'll start to pick it up. So that'd be my advice for anybody, and that works for any language, honestly, which is cool. Man, all right, let's hit this super chat from Adam real quick, man. Adam with the super chat says, Christian, the halftime show was fine, not very political. People get so angry over every little thing these days, and that's why people are so divided. Everybody needs to like. You couldn't have said it any better, man. Couldn't have said it any better. That's why I was like, I was trying to keep it from even being political. I really was just curious about the performance, if anybody watched it, what they thought, because everybody's talking about it right now. But that's it. That's my thing. I mean, it'd be no different. And listen, if there's a typical English, I guess, speaking artist that performed, I mean, we're always going to pick apart the performance, whether it was great, whether it was good, whether it was bad, really bad, whatever. I wish we could just keep that the same thing with this. But yeah, you're right, man. I wish nowadays, that was my whole point when I was getting that little spiel, um, about at the end of the day, man, when you have people that are so divided on both sides, you'll never make progress because the people that are super far on this side will never even want to even hear or discuss anything on the other side, and then it's just a constant clash. Um, so that's, you know what I mean? Like that, you're 100% right. Instead of people just coming to the table, having a logical conversation and trying to discuss things that you can try to find the best way to come up with something. You're never going to please everybody. At the end of the day, you'll literally never please anybody. It's impossible. But I think it's important just to try to listen. Again, first and foremost, listen. Not listen to respond, but listen to understand the perspective of the other person, and then then you can respond and give your point of view, and yeah. But no, I think you're 100% right. But yeah, I would probably give it like, I don't know, like an 8. One of my favorite halftime show, but I thought it was really cool that everything that he did in there to represent the Puerto Rican culture. But I'm trying to think of who in recent years. I like when they had like Dr. Dre, Eminem, and all those guys a few years ago. I thought that one was good. I'm trying to think who else recently. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I care more about the game itself. I guess that's just different with me. Like halftime show is cool and all. I mean, it's cool because it's a part of the game. But I mean, at the end of the day, I just want to watch some football. Cedric, what's up? What's going on, brother? But seriously, Adam, thank you so much. Yeah, you're like me, man. At the end of the day, I think everybody just got to just chill, man. Halftime show, you like it, you don't like it, cool. Let's move on to the next thing. Sharpshooters. I hadn't seen them. I don't. I think he said he was going to send me a message or something like that, Dwight. I did not see it though. I haven't seen it yet. I didn't even mention that thing about James Pierce, man. It's sad, man. Just, first and foremost, I pray that I'm assuming maybe ex-girlfriend or the woman involved, hope she's all right. But it's just sad that you have literally a dude that's so talented, man, just throw everything away. And people mentioned some of those concerns when he was coming out the draft, man. It's unfortunate. Where I got my eyebrows from? What are you saying? The Italian side? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, man. I'm 20%. Matter of fact, let me see. Let me see. I got it pulled up right here. And it's weird because they updated it, because before it was showing I had more German, but now it shows less German than more Scottish. I don't know, man. I don't know how this stuff works. Adam, we're still waiting on that ruling, man, from that Bediako case. I'm trying to use what you told us Friday to kind of feel out how it's going to go, but I have no idea at this point, man. I really don't. I don't know why this isn't loading, but anyway. But yeah, Dwight, I haven't heard from them, but one of these days I'll jump on there for sure. I'll definitely jump on there at some point. Does Philippines count as Asian? Yeah. Yeah, they count as Asia. Get both sides. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe because of my, I don't know, multicultural background. But it's not like, when I say multicultural, it's not like my dad came from Nigeria and my mom came from Italy. But but even just like in terms of like American cultures, I mean, those are two different cultures. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just why I'm, like I said, I have a really interesting background, being biracial, having best friend from Korea growing up, a lot of Mexican friends. I mean, I haven't. As a matter of fact, one of my other best friends, matter of fact, he just got married. He's Indian. My friend group in high school was one guy that was like Indian, another guy that was half Japanese, half white, another guy that was like Southern country white. Then there was me, it's biracial. So I mean, we just had whole. It was like it's like NATO or something like that. Obviously, I'm just making a joke, but anyway, enough of that, man. We'll be back on sports a lot more tomorrow. But Adam, seriously, thank you so much for the super chat, and I couldn't agree more. But hope you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow, Talking Tuesday. Clint Lamb at the top of the hour, and I'll keep you posted with any more guests. But I'm gonna try to get Milrow on here at some point when he does free up. I'm gonna reach out to his pops and see if he'll help me get him on here, because I know he's gonna be busy. But that said, look forward to see you guys tomorrow. Y'all be easy.